So I went to my daughter's house, and there were no, you know when you walk into an apartment, there's walls? Well, there were no walls left. It was like people were thrown through the walls, and it was only like boards, and there was no walls left. I'm like, what the fuck happened here? And this was in 10 days. And then my daughter didn't realize I was there. She was in the bedroom, the other bedroom with these two guys. And I walked by there, because they didn't even notice I was in the place. And I walked by, and there was broken beer bottles everywhere. It looked like a fucking terrible scene. And then I went to my grandson's room. He was only a year old. And I bought him a Winnie the Pooh light plate thing. And there was blood on it. I was like, oh my God. So I walked in his room, and this is a 1-year-old boy who looked like death. He had black under his eyes because he hadn't slept. He had blood on his face because somebody clearly picked him up as they were fighting and bleeding, trying to comfort him, I guess. And I took him, and I grabbed as much clothes as I could while he was like, Grandma. Oh, baby, I'm taking you, don't worry. And then my daughter came, and she's like, you can't have him. I'd rather the police have him. I had to punch my own daughter in the face to get her away from this baby. Okay?
Was she the one that hurt the baby?
She didn't hurt him. She just neglected him.
She neglected him.
Completely. And then so I took him with me. I put him in the car. I drove him to my house, and he was starving. My poor grandson was starving for days. So I fed him. He's like, no, Grandma, no. And I had presents for him because it was Christmas time, so I gave him presents at the same time. He was probably with me for like 3 hours, and then the police showed up, CAS, and said I had to give him away. They had to take him. I said, why? It's the holidays. I want my grandson. And they said, no, we have to take him, and maybe you'll see him later. He was crying his eyes out. And then, so they took him. But then my oldest daughter, who was 20, because I was sick and they wouldn't let me have him, decided to adopt him legally. But then when she adopted him legally, he was, like I said, like a year or so. 3. At that point, he must have been around 2, 3, because it was like a time frame.
Okay.
And so we were sharing him amongst us and whatnot. But she was legally adopting him. And then she got him legally adopted. And then she changed his name. Completely.
Okay.
TJ is no longer TJ. He's Thomas. TJ refused to tell anybody at school who called him Thomas. Said, no, my name's TJ. I don't want to be known as Thomas. She moved him away to PEI. And
well, how old was he by this time?
Last time I seen him, he was 6. No.
Okay, so
he was 6.
He went through all this, being taken at the age of 1.
What happened is that no, he was 8 last time I seen him. 8. He was 6 when I started like looking into like doing my own research on how to tell a child what's happening, right?
Right.
And I started to discuss this with my daughters. I'm like, we really have to make sure he knows what's going on. Like, we can't continue to lie to him, because as what he thought, the aunt that is raising him
is his mother.
His mother,
right?
And then the aunt
his mother
is his mother.
Yeah, I know.
So and I'm like, how I can't lie to my grandbaby this way. And they're like, well, you have to. I said, well, how long does this have to happen? Because then my other daughter, who had so TJ had a brother and a sister, who he called cousins all the time.
So your youngest daughter had 2 other children besides him?
3 more children, actually, but 2 he knows of. She just had another baby this year. But 2 that he thinks are his cousins. And they
are actually his brother and sister?
Yeah.
Are they full brother and sister?
Well, they're not same father.
Okay.
My daughter gave birth to all of them. And I know them. And they counteract. Like, they're like, hey, Merry Christmas. I'm like, I can't keep doing this. Like, this is insane. Like, these children need to know. Like, sit them down. And I was doing research, and I was like, it said that if you do not tell a child between the ages of 8 and 12 about the situation, you can't tell them until they're 20 because you're going to fuck them right up. Literally, the brain goes opposite. So, like, he's going to be hatred. He's going to have a lot of hate. So I was like, I tried to explain this to him that I was doing the research. I said, we have to tell him. We have to tell all these children why, like your mom, you know, like whatever, because she lost all the children. And they would...
So she lost the other two that she had?
Oh, yeah. Oh, that was an even worse case scenario. She was actually living on Nelson. The police chief, she was on the news, saying that the worst case scenario of child abuse he's ever seen in his life. They were living in shit.
Which police chief was this?
I don't know. But I went there.
Well, what year was that?
It would have been 16, 17, 2016, 17. I was living in Diane on Saint Laurent and Montreal Road. And because I went there.
That sounds like it might have been Chief Bordelot. That sounds like it might have been Chief Bordelot.
I don't know. But she did the same thing. Like, it was one of the babies. First of all, these kids were like, my grandson came to my house. He was 3. And I took him for the night. And he was scared for his little sister. What kind of 3-year-old is scared for his little sister? And that was concerning to me. I didn't know what was going on. My daughter was having a crack house in the house. So then I went there. And her boyfriend got arrested. The children were taken away. I went to her house. Because I bought all the furniture. Like, I used to sell furniture. So she always had a nice bed. The kids, I bought beds for them. Like, I wanted to make sure they had a nice place. She seemed like she was doing fine for a bit. But she wasn't. And then I went there. And it was like, literally, I cried my eyes out. Because I walked in there. I was crying in my video. And then Facebook stole that video away. Saying, like, who's in here? Because I wanted to make sure I videotaped because somebody was in that house. And there were people in her basement fucking doing needles and stuff. So I'm walking around the house
and this was still on, what? This was still on Nelson?
Yeah, on Nelson.
Okay.
And then, so I went upstairs and I was videotaping it all. And I cried because my granddaughter, her crib was torn apart. People had needles and all over her room. And blood was all over her bed. My grandson's room, all his toys are still there, but yet there's like paraphernalia everywhere. And on the wall, it says, I don't do needles, Selena. My daughter was literally thrown out. I don't know what happened exactly, but it was taken over by street people, like squatters.
That was almost like a home invasion kind of thing, but that's what they do. They get in there and they squat.
Yeah, and they never left.
Yeah.
And so she left, and she literally left her big screen TV, her couch, all the things that we bought together, like to make it home. She walked away from it all. Like, it meant nothing. Her kids' toys, her kids were taken away. Then my grandson, I was told, this is how bad my life is. So then I tried to get my grandson and my granddaughter. I was going to try and get them, the 2 new ones, because the older one was in PEI with my other daughter, so I wanted to get custody of the other 2. CAS said I can come visit them. They played a game with us because I sat there, and my grandson, who was at that time 3, and I guess, or he was 4, and his sister, who was like 1, he'd been speaking about me. He'd been telling her about grandma, because grandma loves me. And then when I got there, he's like, I was in the CS building. My daughter, when she lost custody of him, was taken in by somebody else who abused him, who literally broke his arms. The poor little guy was 3.
And so he was in foster care?
Yeah, and they tried to drown him.
Oh, lovely. Did they remove him from that foster home?
Apparently so. But that's when all of a sudden I found out about this. I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? I'm like, why did you let this happen? Why did nobody tell me? So then finally CS says, well, he's asking for you. You can come see him. First time I get to see my little 3-year-old grandson. Zayden is his name. Zayden and Nevaeh. So I go there at the, I guess the East End CS, wherever it is. And he's there. And he sees me in the window. He's banging, Grandma, Grandma. He's telling his little sister, it's Grandma, it's Grandma. And they were like attacking me. And I'm like, oh my God, I love you so much. And I brought them gifts and whatever. And I told him, because his birthday was coming up. I said, am I allowed to see him for his birthday? Can he come to my house? Because I made them, I made that teepee for them. So I can read them stories in there and put them to sleep. And they said, yeah, we're going to bring him. And so we were excited. He's like, we're going to go to Grandma's house, Grandma's house. So I painted, even on my wall, about mirror, mirror on the wall, who's the most famous of them all. I put Nevea, you know, like whatever. Had it all ready. And then we had an hour visit. And then CS denied me seeing him, said they changed their mind. So he thinks I abandoned him.
Which you didn't. I know. I know, because of all the abuse and stuff. Yeah. I never got my grandchildren. I tried wanted my grandchildren too. Like, nobody believes in second chances here.
You know what? No, I didn't do anything wrong. I was never a drug addict. I didn't do anything wrong. I wanted my grandchildren in my life. I know. And they kept stealing them from me. So then I lost them, which is like heartbreaking in itself. And then when I prepared for his birthday, got all this stuff for him.
Yeah.
They said, no, we changed our mind. It's not good because all he does is talk about you. And it's not healthy for him. Maybe because he loved me.
Yeah, well, it's a lot. This is what the whole thing is. They're really knocking the seniors out because we're the ones that help the next generation coming up.
I love my grandchildren, you know.
But whatever your illness was, that might be why they turned around and changed.
Yeah. My illness wasn't mentally. It was my stomach. I mean, I can still function. I still take in my grandchildren. Why would they have to be in the system? And then, so, from then on...
So that's why you have trouble eating, is because of your stomach?
Yeah, well, because there's something in my stomach, Christine. The doctor there's a triangle in my stomach. It's in my soyas. I already know that.
Oh.
But nobody wants to help me with that. But that's neither here or there. The reason I'm telling you is because... So after that happened again...
So that's why you lost your job, was because of this?
My stomach, yeah. I was sick all the time. I couldn't even keep food down. I was in so much pain. You know? And nobody would... I felt like I was pregnant all the time. Like I was giving birth. I was like, there's something... Every 3 months, I'd be like, in my belly button, like, it feels like there's baby kicking in me and like I'm having contractions. And they laughed at me. You're crazy, Diane. I said, no, I'm not. I know what contractions feel like. You guys are fucking lying to me. And I know they stole my baby, too. When I had my daughter, I had 2 babies. They took one of them. I know they did. And I told them they took one. They said, then they decided to pump me up with morphine. And I barfed all over them.
Why, you had a set of twins?
I know I did.
Oh.
I had twins. I had a boy. I know I had a little boy. I know I did. Anyways. So then, last time I saw TJ, after Zeta and Nevea were taken, I didn't get to see them anymore. And then, with TJ, what happened was, because I kept pushing the fact that, you know what, it's how sad it is when a little boy, because both my daughters at their house, they don't put pictures on the wall. There's no pictures. But at my house, I have a whole wall of like when my daughters were young. I have all different size frames. Like, I mean, it's all like almost like a collage, right, of my memory in my spare room I had and in my hallway. And TJ, when he'd come to my house, he'd stare at Selena's picture, who is his biological mother, like he knew her. And he'd look at her. And this was when she was young, when she gave birth to him. He stared her picture over and over like he remembered who his mother was. And I told both my daughters, we can't keep lying to him. Stop lying to him. Tell him the truth. Because he's going to be confused. He remembers his real mother, and we're lying to him.
So,
explain to him.
So how old would he be now? TJ.
Last time I seen him was, I took him to Marineland, and we went on this ride, and we had the best time. He would have been, I think he's 13, I think. He just turned 13 this week, I think. But that's what I mean. They took him away from me because they didn't want me to tell him the truth. But you know what? He knows. I gave him, Christine, I made him, he asked me to make him a doll of Pirates of the Caribbean. So I made him 2 dolls this big.
All
by hand, eh? All hand sewn. jewelry, leather coat, leather boots. I even made him like everything that Jack Sparrow had. Compass, fucking his book, where he got all his little things, and I would write really cool stuff in it, and I would do like little hidden treasures with him. That's the last thing he has from me.
If he still has it.
Oh, I hope he does. I put secrets in there. I gave him the answers. And then I have the secrets. Because they don't want to tell him the truth. His name is not Thomas Matthew. His name is T.J. DeRosier. I know his father. I'm his grandmother. But they stole him. And now I'm not allowed to see him anymore.
Did they give you a reason?
Because if he ever looked at me in the face and said, Grandma, who's my mom? Do you think I was going to lie to him?
Okay, so they were afraid that you were going to tell them the truth.
I didn't tell them the truth.
Yeah.
They didn't want me to tell them the truth.
Because I know, I'm adopted too, so I know exactly how he felt. And I went searching. I haven't been able to find my father, but I found my natural mother's family.
Everybody lied to you your whole life. I was going to be the liar to
I was lucky because when I was adopted, at least my adopted parents at least told me, I think I was about 4 to 5 years old when they told me that I was adopted, and kind of explained it in a simple way. And that but they had papers that said that I was their daughter, and that their child, who was my older brother, was actually, that's how they explained how he was my older brother.
Wasn't it better that you understood?
Yes, it was. And then when my closest, when I was just in love with my grandfather, and I understand the importance, because today, and I wrote a story, and I'll have to read you the story about my grandfather that I wrote. I'll have to read you some of my stories that I've written.
Yeah.
It's because how close I was. And today, he died. I think I was around 11 when he died, and I was just devastated. Totally. Because he was the one when I couldn't understand things, and because as much as I love my parents, and they love me, they were perfectionists.
Yeah.
Have you ever tried living with perfectionists and always feeling like you weren't quite there, like you just didn't quite belong?
Yeah.
That was kind of the way, but my grandfather always made me feel like I belonged. And it was a really, really good thing.
That's what I want with my grandbaby.
And I understand, but I can't even have that with my grandchildren because things messed up so bad with the CAS too. So I understand where you're coming from.
And now, I just want, my whole goal, my grandmother told me, don't let them forget you're a Métis.
Yeah.
You need to tell them who you are, Diane.
Yeah.
You're special. And I want my grandchildren.
Well, they didn't even want to tell me that I was Métis, but I knew darn well that I was Métis.
My grandchildren are very important to me. And you know what? I have a new one too. Her name's Bella, I think. Bella. I only saw her once, and she's gorgeous. But my daughter lost her too. So she's had 4 children she's lost.
So is your youngest one still in Ottawa here?
Oh, yeah. She's the one who ruined my life. She's the one who drugged me for crack. She came to my house, drugged me, stole my life, stole my identity, let men in my house, and stole everything from me. That's why I'm here.
Wow. Because now I can understand, because it's what I went through too, because 40 years of domestic abuse does something to you. You know, and then
your child abuses you.
Yeah. But I've been abused by my own children too.
Yeah. You know,
but that was more like when they became adults.
I love my children so much, and I did everything for them and for drugs. And now my other daughter, who's in PI, I'm telling you, this is the only thing I can do. I can't stay here. I'm going to be attacked. I walked by the steppers, and I was like fucking waiting for somebody to attack me. It's going to happen again. I know it will. I have nowhere to go. So my only hope is to get to PI, go see TJ, make sure he knows me, and make sure he knows who I am. I know he doesn't forget me, but I want to make sure he knows I love him before I die. I feel like I'm dying.
Well, this is an example how...
I'm going to die, Christine. I can't live on the street.
I know. That's why I said we'll stay here and we'll see if I can do something by Monday.
I can't stay on your floor all the time.
I know. I said for a few days anyhow. Until, like I said, I can't do much till next week. Then I'm going to try and
I'm going to leave tomorrow.
Well,
now
you don't have.
Me
you don't have
Dina
to.
Dina is mad at me. Mad at me because I didn't take the fucking jail sentence that I was not given. I didn't do anything wrong, and she's mad. She doesn't have a home.
Well, she's just upset because you're hanging around the Shepherds and you got jumped.
I'm not hanging around there at all. I was in front of your step.
What, you got jumped in front of my step?
No, but why? I don't hang there. I would get food. Anyways, it doesn't matter. I'm leaving tomorrow. I'm going to find my grandson. That's what I'm here for. My grandma told me I need to help him. My grandchildren are going to be in pain. And I have to help them. So I'm going to go to PI. And use my money. Go there and stalk him. And then not tell my daughter I'm there. And just find him at school. After school. And hopefully I can tell him and give him a kiss goodbye.
Well, this is how the CAS ruins families. Let me tell you.
It's the only thing I have left. It's the only reason Christopher kept me alive. Is for my grandbaby. He knows how much I love them. And nobody's gonna fuck with them the way they fucked with me. Oh God, help me. Oh God, I wanna go home.
And unfortunately, there's no home to go home to. And the system is so screwed up, it's not funny. They don't know how to deal with people or how to even help people properly.
I'm going to go find my grandson. That's what I'm going to do. I'm tired of sitting right here doing nothing. Nobody's going to help. I'm going to go to PI on the bus. And just sit there. Maybe they have a homeless shelter there.
Well, I'm sure they probably do.
Maybe they're not as abusive as they are in Ottawa. Maybe somebody will rent me a house there. And my daughter doesn't need to even know I'm there. But my grandson will know. Because he knows I love him. I have nothing. If I don't have my grandchildren, I have nothing.
Yeah, but I know how important my grandfather was because I was pretty messed up as a teenager, losing my grandfather when he died. Nope. I mean, I was about 11, but he had just turned 89 when I lost him.
My grandson thinks I'm beautiful.
Well, you are beautiful. And beauty is not on from the outside, it's from the inside. That's why I love you. That's why I love you so much, is because you're beautiful on the inside.
Thank you. My grandson loves me that way. I love him. I'm the one who taught him how to drink out of a sip cup. I'm the one who videotaped him walking for the first time. I'm the one who taught him everything. He thinks I'm his mom.
I know, and this is why the problem is with the stories. You've lost all this, possibly.
I lost everything. They stole all my grandbabies away.
I know. And the last part of it was on the phone, right?
Yeah.
On your grandchildren. And there's, and there's not anything I can really say to comfort you, but I feel for you, just like you feel for other people. I have that feeling for you.
I love people, I know you do. Yeah. I know a lot of people outside, actually. I talk to everybody.
Well, that's one of the sayings that my grandfather used to say to me was, before you judge a person, walk in their shoes first. Yeah. And that's sometimes very difficult to do for people.
But that's my plan. I'm going to go to PEI.
Well, maybe you should wait until after the weekend.
Why, it's nice. What are we going to do? Sit around waiting to get hit again? Yeah. I'll go see my grandbaby.
Well, it's just things are, on the weekends, things aren't exactly open the same.
Maybe I'll hitchhike.
Then you're really asking for trouble thumbing it.
I'll take my chances. I'm not going to sit around just waiting for nothing. Nothing's going to change. Nobody cares. I'll buy a phone. I'll leave. I'll hitchhike. No, I don't know.
Well, if you buy a phone, let me know what your phone number is, so at least I can call you once in a while. I want to keep in contact with you because I do love you. You're special.
Thank you. Thank you, Christine.
And I'm not Dina either.
I can't believe she just ditched me like that.
She didn't ditch you, but she's just really pissed off at you right now. She needs some time to calm down, too.
Why? Because I don't want to go to jail? I'm not going back to a place that treat women like fucking dirt.
So, are you talking
about? I
about?
don't belong there.
Which jail are you talking about?
The women's shelter.
Oh, okay. So you're talking about the shelters.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's like jail. It's fucking jail. Even Don said it. He's been in jail. He's been in prison. He's been in jail. I haven't. It feels like jail.
Okay, that's
like I'm the one
because I know that Don has been in jail, but that's why I understand now why these people coming out of jail.
You know what it is? It's called minimum fucking jail. It's minimum. What do you call that? Minimum
security or whatever. Yeah.
Well, he says basically that's what Shepard's is. It's fucking minimum. You're not in prison. You're being watched. You're being monitored, but you have freedom. Same thing. That's what he said. So why would I sign myself up for that? Do I look like a fool? No. I'll figure it out. If it wasn't so fucking cold in Canada, I'd be fine.
Yeah.
It's so cold. I can't handle the cold.
I know. Well, I don't know where this is going to end, but when you get a phone, you have my phone. Well, I'll give you my phone number again, so you can be in touch with me.
Unless it gets stolen again.
Mm.
Then I'll just have to do it old school.
Yeah.
But there are no payphones anymore, are there?
There are only a few, then they're scattered in between. Yeah.
I'm not spending my money on a phone that can get hacked and they can locate me and fucking get robbed anyway. I guarantee you that phone got stolen. Watch, when I go down to fucking Rito, that store, my phone will be sitting right there. They'll buy it right back. They're a scam. Like everything else.
If you want to go down to a store, another phone store, and get another one tomorrow, I'll go with you.
Fuck no, I'm not gonna bother. I'm just gonna take a bus or a hitchhike. I'll say bye to Don. Maybe he'll want to come with me. No. But I'm going to Prince Edward Island.
Well, maybe it's not exactly the best timing, too, because don't forget, we had that big hurricane.
What hurricane?
Oh, heavens, the hurricane wiped everybody out in the whole East Coast.
What are you talking about?
This was Fiona. This was last month.
What are you talking about? I didn't hear that. I didn't watch news.
Oh, goodness. Yeah, I didn't realize.
East Coast? Isn't that PEI?
Yeah, PEI.
What happened?
Well, it took out the grid. Okay, it was Newfoundland, New Brunswick,
No way.
Nova Scotia, and PEI got hit real bad. They showed the shores, you know how because I've been to PEI when I was young, but they had the red clay and the shores. It just took a wallop. The shore, half the shore left.
No way.
Yeah, they showed pictures.
Actually, you know what I found out when I was looking?
So I'm not sure it's the best time to head for PEI.
Well, my grandson needs me, but you know what? I was looking up because I think I asked you, what does Victoria Island and Prince Edward Island have to do with each other? Because Turtle Island is Victoria Island. PEI, so I looked it up, and fucking right away, it's like there's a place called Victoria something in PEI.
Yeah, I think that's the capital, PEI.
Victoria. Well, it's Summerside. It's PEI, the island. Yeah. My daughter lives in Summerside. But I don't remember that. But the funny thing is, as soon as it popped up, it showed the lighthouse. I drew this lighthouse. My grandson on his wall in his room, my daughter said, just do a little painting, Mom. She went to work. It was like, on this wall by his light switch. I'm like, no. I drew a lighthouse from the floor to the ceiling. And I drew all flowers around it. I can't remember the flowers that are the flower of PEI, but I painted it all over. And then when I looked online to see what PEI and Victoria Island have in common, this lighthouse pops up. I'm like, holy shit.
Well, Victoria Island here doesn't have a lighthouse.
But there's a Victoria Island on PEI Island.
Oh, okay. I don't know anything about that.
That's what it said. and it said it was actually the Victoria one that everybody forgets about. And that was my question too. So Queen Elizabeth and Queen Victoria, were they sisters?
No, she was Queen Victoria was the ancestor.
I think somebody stole her. I think they're liars.
Okay, well, I'm going to turn this off, and I'm going to, well...
I think they're lying about that.
Well, I'm going to try and make you laugh a bit, because I got some funny stories that I'll read to you tonight. How about that?
I don't know if I'll stay awake.
Well, look at it this way. I'm going to read you a bedtime story, and you can fall asleep. Okay?
Yeah.
And we'll end it here. Okay?
I love that.
I know you will. Okay? All right. We'll talk to you. I'll shut this thing off, and then we'll read you a story. Okay?